My name is Penelope Roman Asiego. Today is July 6, 2025. This is the second half of the summer semester for Juvenile Justice Administration. So the first thing I did here was go into the FBI website and went into the data for arrests by age here. And this is some of the data that I looked at, but I decided to use the UCR website and the NIBRS 2019 for the data that I will be showing. Here is the PDFs where it shows different data. And these are some of the details that I found. So the majority of juveniles arrested were warned and released without charges, which is shown in this report here of arrestees. Juveniles were taken into custody or arrested, were warned, and were not charged. Out of the number of total arrests, juveniles committed a significant amount less than adults, including crimes against persons, property, society, and Group B offenses, which is shown here. The vast difference between juveniles committing crimes than adults. Juveniles committed more Group B offenses than any other type of crime. These offenses included nonviolent family-related incidents, liquor law violations such as drunkenness and driving under the influence, trespassing, and other minor infractions. So, out of all of these crimes committed, juveniles committed Group B offenses the most. The age was not specified, but this data here shows that males were more likely to commit crimes than females. Here, it didn't differentiate between age categories. And so this data I did expect because juveniles are involved in less serious offenses and they are more related to substance abuse and minor violations. Due to this trend, it is unlikely that juveniles will come close to matching the number of arrests seen among adults. So that is why there are so many big differences between juveniles and adults committing crimes. The second website that I went into, the National Crime Victimization Survey here, I pulled up some of the methodology and the standard errors that they seem to be having when creating these data sheets so that we can compare different crime rates. So they explain that there is sampling errors when collecting and analyzing the data, and they use estimates to compare the data. They also have difficulty replicating the sample throughout the years. Criminal victimization of 2023. I went into the full report and I was able to pull up different data sheets showing the differences in age groups. Violent victimization rates decreased from persons ages 12 to 17. Ages 12 to 17 also showed a decrease in violent victimization between the years of 2022 and 2023. However, from the ages of 18 to 24, there was an increase between 2022 and 2023. The number of 12 to 17-year-olds in 2023 that were victims of crimes was 371,390 in 2023, compared to 524,620 in 2022. So there was a vast decrease. For patterns of juvenile offending, I was able to pull up the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention website, where I looked at the different statistics of offending by youth. So juvenile offenders between ages of 16 and 17 account for most known homicide offenses. Violent crime with a firearm is more likely to occur at night. Juveniles are more likely to act alone in homicides than to act with another or multiple other juvenile offenders. So I was not surprised to see that older juveniles between ages 16 to 17 are involved in homicide because it is at this age that juveniles start to commit more serious offenses. Violent crimes are also more likely to happen after school or nighttime, which was shown here with the firearm statistic. I was surprised to see that juveniles act alone during homicides due to the way that juvenile relationships work. I believe that juveniles act off peer pressure and copying behaviors that would make them act with others if committing a homicide, but this statistic showed that they are more likely to act alone. For patterns of juvenile victimization, I also use the same website. Juveniles have been shown to kill acquaintances more than strangers or family members. On non-school days, violent crime with injury is more prominent at 8 p.m., and violent crime with injury on school days happens at 3 p.m. Rate of violent crimes committed by ages 12 to 17 decreased since the peak victimization in 1993. So I did not expect to see that violent crime has decreased since the 1990s or 1993, where it hit its peak. It might be the environment in which I've been seeing recently, but I believe that juveniles were becoming more violent. I also was not expecting to see that juveniles commit the most crime right after school and not at night. Even though on non-school days, it is more likely to happen at night. On school days, which is more common, it happens at 3. So getting right out of school, juveniles are committing crimes, which is pretty surprising to see. I did expect to see that acquaintances were more likely to be victims of homicide than a stranger or a family member because it is very common for juveniles to create shallow connections with people due to school and neighborhoods. You meet a lot of people and it's just acquaintances. So I did expect to see that those are the more likely victims of homicides by juveniles.